Sadashiv Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam
Asmadacharya Paryantam
Vande Guru Paramparam
Vande Guru Paramparam
Vasudeva Sutam Devam
Vasudeva Sutam Devam
Kansa Chadura Mardanam
Tansa Charula Mardanam
Devaki Paramanandam
Devaki Paramanandam
Krishnam Vande Jagadguru
Krishnam Vande Jagadguru
Shreyo Hi Jnanam Abhyasat
Shreyo Hidyanam Abhyasa
Dhyana Dhyanam Vishishyate
Dhyana Dhyanam Vishishyate
Dhyanat Karma Phalatyagah
Dhyana Jnana Parmaphala Tyaga
Tyagat Shanti Anantaram.
Tyaga Shanti Anantaram.
So we'll continue from last week. We are on second chapter. We finished the first part of second chapter, basically second part, which is Sankhya Yoga, and now we are entering into Karma Yoga. So as we see second chapter, Bhagavan has given the preface or all the teaching, and then the rest of the chapter will be expansion or addition to the teaching, or basically just giving elaborated. The teaching is elaborated in rest of the chapters. So the second part which we are doing is Karma Yoga. So last time we saw one of the most discussed, quoted, contemplated, referred shlok, which is Karmanyeva Adhikaraste. That is shlok number 47. And we stopped at, we still have to finish a few more things in this shlok, which is very profound, and it has a lot of meaning behind. So Ramji, I think I saw your, and I wanted to respond on your WhatsApp message. So one of the things which we need to understand, and as I say that when Bhagavan said this shlok 5,000 years ago, he used karmanyevadhikaraste, means you have right to the karma. Maybe that time the society was very dharma oriented and there were a lot of discipline, so it's easy to say. But in 5,000 years, a lot of water has gone under the bridge, and we are maybe in a different shape. So today, if we say, "Oh, you have adhikar," then people start using the rights. But we need to understand, Bhagavan is saying, you have kartavya first. So you have kartavya, and so you're entitled or you're obliged to do the kartavya. So we should not just take literally that adhikar. So Bhagavan is saying karmanye vadhikaraste. So Bhagavan is saying kartavya adhikar. So kartavya you have to do. So, and as we talked last time, kartavya means duty and then adhikar. So adhikar has built-in kartavya into it. But people, when there is a translation in English also that you have right over. Oh, we don't have right over the karma. We have the kartavya towards the karma. So you commented, and I always say that duty and rights in that order, in that sequence. Yeah, we always have rights, but first the kartavya. So that in that order, if we do, then it fulfills the requirement of karma yoga. But that's what we sometimes get misled by that adhikara, I have rights. Yeah, we have rights, but what about the kartavya? So often this question is asked, then what is kartavya? And this is very, very, very common question people ask. And sometimes when I discuss with people, say, then how do I know what is my kartavya? And if you search in the Shastra, or if you talk to gurus, scholars, or search internet, there are hundreds of documents, very scholarly also, which will say, oh, this is your duty, or this is your kartavya, or this is your adhikar. So then people get confused. So our rishis have very nicely told us, which sometimes we forget, and we get into unnecessary analysis and search, and then we end up into something which is not very appropriate, and then we get confused. So I'm going to share that, right, with the document, which is coming from our shastra, and that defines what is kartavya, and which people ask what is kartavya, and if we do that kartavya, then you are entitled for some rights also, because you're doing that. So let me share my screen, and which kartavya we have talked about earlier. It's called Panch Mahayagya, I'm going to share my screen. And this document earlier also, I think I shared, otherwise we'll share again. So Ramji, you see my document screen?
Yes.
Okay. So this is kartavya. And this is coming from Shastra. It is not somebody has defined like randomly. So Panch Mahayagya is the kartavya, which I won't say every Hindu, every human being should do this lifelong, every day. So kartavya, which is you have to do every day. Kartavya is not one time, it's not an exam once in a year you're giving. Kartavya means every day we are doing that. So this is Panch Mahayagya. We talked about earlier, and I'm going to share this document on WhatsApp. So first kartavya is Brahma Rishi Yagya. And what is that? Study of Shastra or spiritual text, whatever teaching, whatever tradition you follow. So now this is a very generic model our rishis have given, which applies to everyone, all age groups, and doesn't matter what tradition you follow. And when we go through this, we find it has nothing to do with one particular tradition or one particular society or one particular time. This was defined thousands of years ago. It's applicable even today. And I personally do all these every day, every day. So that's why when I talk about this document, many places I talked about this document, given a whole big talk. And I say it is doable, and I do this every day. Many of us might be doing, but I personally do that. And that's why we prepared this document. It's very customized. So first is Brahma Yagya. You can read Bhagavad Gita, Ramayana, any book you like, Vishnu Sahasranam, Lalita Sahasranam, Shiv Puran, whatever manifestation of Bhagwan we particularly want to meditate or follow. Then second is Dev Yagya. Dev Yagya means all these powers around us, they are Dev. These are Divya powers like Varun Devta, Surya Devta, all Agni Devta. They are Devta. So Dev Yagya. So how do we do that? Sadhyavandanam, Agnihotra we can do. People do Agnihotra. Simple puja, Panchopchar puja, it takes 5 steps. It takes 2 minutes to do a Panchopchar puja. Bhagwan hai ya jo bhi devta hai, people offer arg to Surya or various ways. Doesn't matter what you do. Do some dhyan, do some yoga practices at certain allotted time. Sandhya Vandanam is 3 times we have to do. Sandhya like in the morning, during the day, middle of the day, and evening. Or it could be just a bhajan, doesn't matter. But we have to do every day. There is Devak. Then Pitrayak, serving our elderly people around us, contemplate on the teaching and the values of parents, grandparents, and ancestors. They have offered us so much of wisdom, and we don't sometimes follow those. So every day we should take. I personally, like for example, my father's letters or grandfather's letters, handwritten, I have that. I read them and contemplate what my father told me, what grandfather or grandmother told me, the stories they told. Every day, just bring their image in the mind. That is Pitra Yagya. We don't have to do Pitra Yagya only once in a year. We do that. Our next month is coming, Pitra Paksh, Shraddha Paksh. And we do all the mandir and everywhere. We do big puja. It's everyday thing. Of course, we have to remember once in a year. There is a reason for that. It's everyday thing. Pitra Yagya. Then Manushya Yagya. Serve the community. I mean, irrespective of who you are, even a little kid or elderly person, we have to help each other. Whatever seva we do or share or food drive, and many ways there. And then Bhut Yagya, which is respect and care the animals, plant, and environment, which is very unique to to Hindu tradition, we have called this as a yajna. Of course, a lot of people in the world, there are organizations who are taking care of environment and then social responsibility, which is fine. This was given in our Shastra thousands of years ago. This is a bhut yajna. Take care of the environment, the plants, animals. So this is called kartavya. So a lot of people ask me, and I say, and this is so good model that it fits to each and everyone, and it is possible. I do all this by every day, every day. Yeah, just stand in front of a plant and do namaskar. और तुलसी, हमारे यहाँ तो तुलसी है, तुलसी नहीं है तो आप किसी भी प्लांट को just do the namaskar. That's environment. Make sure that if I'm walking and some garbage on the street, take it, clean it. That's my responsibility. So this is the kartavya, and that's what Bhagavan is saying. When Bhagavan is saying karmanye vadhikaraste, karmani kartavyaste, Arjun, this is your kartavya, this is your karma. You should do that. And then further Shlok says, going forward, then Bhagavan says, Ma phaleshu kadachan. That we'll talk about. But first, thinking what to do. And this is, we should do that. And that's what he's, of course, I mean, he's not telling Arjun everything, because Arjun was a learned person. So Arjun and Bhagavan knew these things. So he's not specifically saying that. But it is for reminder for all of us. The Pancha Mahayagya, this brings the harmony within me and harmony within the entire universe. And that's it's every day it's like that. And people who do that, they are always happy. I mean, because here Bhagavan is there, Prakriti is there, your parents are there, your friends are there, your society is there, everything is entire universe. So that is what Bhagavan is saying when Bhagavan says kartavya. I'm going to share this document so you can print it and keep it handy and try to do every day. That's Bhagavan is saying. So yeah, so Bhagavan said that shlok, famous shlok, but next step of the shlok is Ma phaleshu kadasan. Now you have performed your kartavya. In all these 5 things, we are not expecting anything. I'm watering tulsi plant or any other plant. I'm not expecting this plant is going to give me something. I'm helping someone on the street. I'm not expecting. And that's what Ma phaleshu kadachan. You have no rights to say that I have done my kartavya. I should get this in return. So that these two things go together. You have kartavya, but you don't have adhikar on the result. You cannot say that, oh, I have done something, I should get it. Just do it. And how this will happen? Once your motive, if your motive is karma-phal, result, then the karma is just null and void. Which karma? That nishkam karma is null and void, because there is a sakam there. There is a demand right in the beginning. I know, oh, I want something. Then this karma becomes sakaram karma. And sakam karma we'll talk in the 3rd chapter. There are a lot of other issues come with sakaram karma. And then Bhagavan says, at the same time, you should not be attached to akarma. Now you should not say, oh, I'm not getting the fruit, phal, or I'm not expecting anything. Then what's the point doing karma? And that's what the modern mindset be, because in America, when we say, if I want to do this, what will I get in return? And even we make the flyers and programs and say, come to this program, you will get this. And that's what we are brought up in the modern society, that something you will get out of what you do. And Bhagavan is very clear. No, you won't get anything. Don't expect anything. It will happen. If you do nishkam karma, there will be results which you will enjoy, but don't expect. But at the same time, don't get into akarma, inaction. Oh, I'm not getting anything, so what should I? And that is what Bhagavan says. This is called buddhi yoga or karma yoga. Why those words synonym, right? So Bhagavan says that take refuge in this model, and this model is very clear, and it's a very wonderful model. I mean, that's why this shlok is so popularly discussed, quoted. But maybe sometimes people interpret in their own ways. But if we read, this is a wonderful model for a happy living and harmonious living in the society. If and personally also. You forget, even if you forget about others, at least I personally can enjoy this model and raise myself. make my life more meaningful for myself. And of course, there'll be benefit for others or not, but yeah. So that's what. So now that was the shlok, and we talked about. I mean, this shlok is very detailed. We can keep discussing, but for now we'll move forward. So there's another shlok which is coming after this, which is 48, which is today's topic. And so that shlok, Bhagwan is going to little bit more elucidate the karma yoga. Bhagwan is talking about karma yoga. So first shlok was given the broad high level definition of what is karma yoga or buddhi yoga. The reason buddhi is used here is we have to just remember one thing, very simple. The seed of karma is in buddhi. Any karma. That's the reason animals don't perform karma, because they don't have that buddhi. A little bit buddhi there, instinctive. They are hungry, they'll eat the food. That is some chip is built into their brain, but not like human being, that buddhi. So the karma seed of karma is in buddhi. And जैसी हमारी बुद्धि होगी वैसा हम कर्म करेंगे, ऐसा हम लोग बोलते भी हैं. And there is a focus is on buddhi. That's what Bhagavan says, buddhi yoga. Karma starts from buddhi. Bhagavan very nicely he's used the word buddhi yoga. It is buddhi yoga, not just karma yoga. So karma yoga is buddhi yoga because karma originated in buddhi. And इसीलिए हम बोलते हैं कि the Gayatri mantra, when we say dhiyo yo na prachodayat, take my intellect, buddhi, towards you. Towards you means Bhagwan means satya or pure or the most purified way I can use my buddhi, that is prachodayat. And that's why it says, agar buddhi theek hogi, then karma will automatically will be good. And then you don't have to worry about the result. That's why Bhagwan says, Ma phalishu, tu chinta kar kyun raha hai? You focus on buddhi. Purify your buddhi, then everything will flow fine. If I throw light through a glass which is dirty, the light other side will be faint or whatever color, but if the glass is clean, the light will go through. So if your buddhi is purified, whatever action will come through buddhi is going to be purified. And then you don't have to worry about phal anyways, because you're doing right thing. The phal will. So what a perfect model it is. And then I added that Panch Mahayagya. So we do that, then we don't have to worry about result. Result will come. So with that, we just recap that shlok. Now we'll enter it to 48, which is today's topic. And I see Samata here. Samata, you're there? I saw her, right? Yeah, Samata is here. So Samata is Lakshman. Yeah, she is there. So Samata is Lakshmanji's daughter, and her name is Samata. And I requested her if you can join, because today's topic is Samata. Bhagwan is going to talk about Samata. And whenever I see Samata in Mandir or any place, I always say that, Bhagwan has told in the Bhagavad Gita, Samata is yoga. Samata is yoga. So see, she always enjoys that also. So today she is here. So we are going to talk about Samata. Today's the whole topic is that. So we'll read 48 shlok and go into the detail. But in essence, Bhagwan is saying that Arjun, perform your duty steadfastly. That is called nishtha, right? Or yoga rud, the word is used, or yogastha. Giving up the clinging to the karma-phal, which previous shlok also Bhagwan said that don't worry about karma-phal. In spite of, we are told and we know, we are all somewhere we are clinging to karma-phal. There is a clutch inside, which we know that, we should not, but we do that. We all know that. So that's what Bhagwan is saying again, this shlok, that clinging to karma-phal, just give up. Then be even-minded. That is samatha. Samatha means, we'll talk about that in detail. And then Bhagwan is saying, and in the success or failure, there'll be, karma will have sometime even karma will be successful or not. Bhagwan says that you just keep even-mindedness, evenness, samatvam. And that samatvam, and we'll go into detail, is called yoga. So, and let's see now. We'll go get into shlok and then go a little bit more into detail. So those who join late, I'm going to share that Panch Mahayag at the end one more time, and then I'll email also. So let's read shlok number 48. Shlok number 48 of second chapter. Right? We are on Sankhya Yoga part is over. We are on the part where Bhagavan is explaining Karma Yoga. So 48 shloka, second chapter. Yogastha kuru karmani.
Yogastha kuru karmani.
Sangam tyakta dhananjaya.
Sangam tyaktva Dhananjaya.
Siddha asiddhayo samo bhutva.
Siddha siddhayo samo bhutva.
Samatvam yoga uchyate.
Samatvam yoga uchyate.
So I'll read in Hindi, then Ramji, if you have Hindi, you can read. You have Hindi?
I have English.
Okay, then you read. Let me read. Bhagavan is saying, Hey Dhananjay, which is Arjun, आसक्ति को त्याग कर तथा सिद्धि और असिद्धि में समान बुद्धि वाला होकर योग में स्थित हुआ कर्मों को कर समत्व भाव ही योग नाम से कहा जाता है.
Arjun, perform your duties established in yoga, renouncing attachment, and be even-minded in success and failure. Evenness of mind is called yoga.
Right. So now we have to break this shlok. This is a very, very powerful shlok. And this is another popular. This shlok is popular in the sense many Indian institutions in India, education institutions, and there are some higher education institutions. They use this shlok as their emblem or maybe the motto, Samatvam Yoga, and they take the last part, Samatvam Yoga Uchyate. Now the people, whenever we say yoga in modern term, yoga means immediately Surya Namaskar or pranayam that comes into picture. That's people think yoga. That no, Bhagwan is not talking about that. That's a very, 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 very gross definition of yoga or demonstration of yoga. Bhagwan is talking about, and Samatvam, he's talking about Samatvam in the Buddhi. That's why he said Buddhi Yoga, right? So body is, and this particular yoga, not focusing on body much. Body will come later, but here the focus is the mind or Buddhi, we can say. So we have to break this shlok into, and I did my own homework and do that. So we have to read like this. First thing is Sangam Tyaktva. That is the first part of the shlok. And Sang means attachment. Tyaktva word has come from Tyag. Tyag has become Tyaktva means given up. So giving up is Tyag, given up is Tyaktva. And attachment. So Bhagavan is saying, give up the attachment to what? It's like that. Now the question comes, to what? Bhagavan is not, we have to supply that. And if we go back to the previous shlok, where Bhagavan used ma phaleshu. So Bhagavan is saying, we should read like this, Sangam Chapt2 karma-phaleshu. In the karma-phal. So give up the attachment to the karma-phal. That is the first condition. So now look at that, how powerful Bhagavan is saying. If you want to be a yogi, the first condition is that you should overcome that attachment to the karma-phal. And we all have, like, we can keep saying that, oh, I don't worry about the result, but back of our mind is always there. And that is the first condition of yoga, according to Bhagavan Krishna. And we all know that it's not easy. We all know that, but it is doable. Bhagavan will make sure. That's the reason we are reading Bhagavad Gita. And we'll see at the end, before we end, that how do we do that, right? The second part of this shlok is, so first Bhagavan says, first conditioning, Sangam Chapt2 karma-phaleshu. We can say phaleshu. And phal is always either in the past or in the future. Phal is never in the present. When I'm doing the karma, the phal is not but my thought goes either in the past, if I have failed, or maybe I had some result of this karma, this similar karma, that is in my mind always. Or this is the result, I got it. Or I'll expecting a result. So the phal is always either in the past or in the future. And here is the gist of this teaching. Bhagavan is saying, if you are performing a karma, maybe I'm studying, or I'm playing, or I'm watching TV, or I'm talking to a kid. That is one of the most difficult part, is talking to a kid. We all can experiment. And if I am not present in that moment, either I am in future or past, this condition we failed. First condition Bhagavan says, the Sangam Tyakta, because that attachment will be either in future or this result will come, or in the past it has happened. So Bhagavan saying, and that's the reason we say remain in present. So first condition Sangam Tyakta means if you have to practice it, and that's the reason we do dhyan and other practices. The second part of this is, which is in second line, Samo Bhutva. Sama means again evenness, which is samatha. And bhutva word has come from bhu means happening. Bhutva means you are becoming. And Bhagavan says, be samo bhutva, be in the evenness of mind. When he says samo. So Bhagavan is saying when you're performing karma, first is that give up the attachment of clinging to the karma-phal, which is in the past or future. Just give that. Be in the present. Second is samo bhutva, evenness of mind. Your mind should be evenness while performing the karma. And that needs practice. And that's the reason whole. Now Bhagavan says that samo bhutva in what sense? He says siddha asiddhayo. Because when you perform the karma, there will be either siddhi, means successful, or unsuccessful. Yeah, even karma, forget about the phal. Even the karma, you may be successful or unsuccessful. So siddha means successful, asiddhi means failure. So Bhagavan is saying, samo bhutva, whether the karma is successful or not. Evenness of mind. You be even. And that is the second thing. Samo bhutva, in what? Siddha asiddhi. So remain, whether you get it complete or not, but you should not get disturbed. So that is the second condition. And these two go together, then it becomes Samatvam Yoga Uchite. So Samatvam means both, not clinging to the result and not worrying about the completion or incompletion of the work, some evenness of mind. That is Samatvam. And Bhagavan said that Samatvam is Yoga. Uchite means they said. So one or two go together means it is like this. When we go to doctor or for health, Lakshman ji hamare karte rehte hain. So he, in his presentation, he always says that you have to do exercise, so karna hi hai, but at the same time, diet is also important. You can do a lot of exercise, but if your diet is not controlled, that exercise will not help. If you have good diet, but if you're not physically active, not doing exercise in a right way, then diet, that food what you eat will not be assimilated. Look at that. That's what Bhagavan is saying. So it goes together. Sangam Tyakta. So for karma yoga, that is our Ashtanga yoga, right? But for this yoga, which is buddhi yoga or karma yoga, one condition for karma yoga is you should not be clinging to the karma-phal. And while performing the karma, you should not be worried about success or failure of the karma itself. Forget about phal to aaya nahi abhi. And that is called evenness. And in simple terms, be in present. And there is a saying that the human beings are so lucky that Bhagwan has given them the present of present. Animals don't have the concept of past, future, and present. We human beings only have the concept of past, future, and present. And this is a present given to us that we have a present. there is a saying somewhere. So we are so lucky to have that present, of present, given by Bhagavan. So if we stay in present, then it becomes Samatvam Yoga. So what a wonderful way Bhagavan is fine. And then he says the first part of the shlok, Yogastha Kuru Karma. Establish in that state, which is Samatvam, now perform the karma, Arjuna. We have to read the shlok in 4 segments. So then say Kuru Karmani, now perform the action, Arjuna. Wow. So he's saying, unless you fulfill those 2 conditions, and that two conditions make it Nishkam Karma Yoga or Karma Yoga, Samat, then perform Kuru Karmani, then Arjun get into the work. And he's preparing Arjun for that, because he was again attached to my grandfather, my uncle. This is all attachment, right? And whether we'll win or lose, or if we win, there'll be a pap we'll be performing because we are killing some Brahmins here or uncles. All this, he's worried about the future. Bhagavan already said that, right? Gatasuna gatasun nanu shochanti pandita. Pandit people don't worry about something has gone, which is gone, or something which is not yet come. Pandit is always present in the present. And that's what Bhagavan is saying. So a very powerful shlok, but it defies. So now the question comes, how do we do that? That's that sangam tyaktva, and then keeping the mind in the evenness of mind. And of course, we'll Bhagavad Gita mein to aage samjhaya Bhagavan ne. 6th chapter is all about that. The title of 6th chapter is Atma Sanyam Yoga. And the dhyan we do at the end comes from 6th chapter. So dhyan is the only way of achieving these two things. There is no other way. And we all do dhyan different ways. I mean, it's not just one way, but Bhagavad Gita has one way which we follow. But Adiguru Shankaracharya, in his Bhaj Govindam, he has given a prescription, एक formula दिया है, but अच्छी medicine है बहुत, हम सब खा सकते हैं, absolutely harmless, no side effect of this medicine. That prescription which Adiguru Shankaracharya has given in Bhaj Govindam. And actually Bhaj Govindam, he calls it Moha Mudgar. Actually the entire Bhaj Govindam is, he titled as Moha Mudgar, it removes the moh. Moh means all this attachment and being worried about the past and future is moh. So that there is some of you already know that, but it's like, let me just repeat it. Satsangatva nissangatvam. So how do we get that nissangatva? So Shankaracharya said, Satsangatve nissangatva. Nissangatve nirmohatvam. Nirmohatve nischalatatvam. Nischal tattve jivana mukti. Bhaj govindam, bhaj govindam, govindam bhaj mukti. So he says it starts from satsang. Adi Guru Shankaracharya is saying, he was so profound scholar, and he says if you want to achieve the asangatvam, the source is satsang. There is like Swadhyaya, what we are doing here. And Panch Mahayagya. See, Swadhyaya we do as a group, or satsang do as a group. But at the same time, when we saw that Panch Mahayagya or Sandhya Vandana, that we have to do individually, each one of us. And once we are all prepared, and when we come together, that's the power of satsang. So that's what Shankara is saying. The only satsang means sitting in the company of people who know Sat. That is satsang. That's it. So Bhagavan Shankaracharya is saying, कितने आसान है. Otherwise people, oh, asangatvam कैसे आएगा? Oh, how do I that? People call it vairag or aversion or dispassion. Then he has various words. But he says it's very simple. Go and sit with wise people. You'll get it. And that's the reason we all have that. जो मंदिर बनाया अमेरिका में, भारत में भी होते हैं. One of the purpose of मंदिर is सत्संग, not कि जाके वहाँ घंटा बजा के वापस आ गए. इसलिए हमारे यहाँ तो हम लोग छोटे थे, जाते थे, हमारे ग्रैंडफादर बोलते बैठो यहाँ 5 मिनट आंख बंद करके. हमें लगता था क्यों बोलते हैं, नहीं, just बैठो यहाँ. There are vibes there, there are vibration. और मंदिरों में हमारे यहाँ कथा भी होती थी, कुछ भजन चल रहे हैं. You get that. That's satsang. So that's what Bhagavan Shankaracharya says. Satsangatve nissangatvam. Satsang karoge, then you that clinging sangam Chapt2 will happen. Nissangatve nirmoha. Moh next shlok mein aayega. Moh means delusion. The delusion will go away. Nirmohatve nischal tattvam. And then your buddhi will be clean. Nischal tattvam means buddhi is clean. जो भगवान बोल रहे हैं बुद्धि होगा. Buddhi, clean buddhi means samatvam buddhi, which buddhi is always even. It's not disturbed. There's no agitation. It's not worried about future and past. That buddhi is samatvam. And Bhagavan says that is yoga. So you are a yogi. Kitna simple hai, or it's so easy to do. I mean, those steps, anybody can do that. We don't have to go to Himalaya to do these things. Anywhere. And so that's what, again, the goal Bhagavan is saying that karma has two parts. We all know that, right? Of course, and we know why we are doing karma, because there is a law of karma, previous birth, and all those theories are there. But I'm born as a human being. I'm born in this family. I'm born in this society. That is because of there's a whole law of karma, or the principle of karma. But assume I'm here now. I have no choice to be in this position. Whatever society, a family, my role starts from here. That choice I didn't have. I should be born into Dhirubhai Ambani's home or not, or some sannyasi's home. I don't have choice. I'm born here. Bhagavan says, now you do it. Yogastha Kuru Karmani. You do it now. And how do we do that? That's Bhagavan is saying that. You take that role. So there are two things in karma. One is external, which is material. Karma always produce result, or there are material benefits, material things in the karma, which is external world. And there's one is internal, inner growth. So there could be external growth. If I do the karma, there'll be if I'm doing planting trees, I'm cleaning the environment, external things. But what about internal growth? So here Bhagavan is saying, focus on internal growth. And that is karma yoga. That is yoga. Because my internal elevation is happening or not. If that is happening, that yes, then it is nishkam karma. If I am internally not growing, then I am not doing nishkam karma. It's like that वो बोलते हैं ना कि किसी ने बोला था कि मुझे पानी में तैरना है अपने गुरुजी को, तो गुरुजी ने कहा ओके, बोले मैं अच्छा तैराक भी तैर लेता हूँ, तो उन्होंने कहा ओके, उसको लेके गुरुजी एंड सेड कि ओके दिस इज अ वाटर डीप रिवर एंड गुरुजी सेड ओके यू कैन स्विम, बोला या आई कैन स्विम, आई हैव नो प्रॉब्लम, आई कैन गुड स्विम, ओके ओके. Guruji went with him and took a very heavy stone with a rope and tied to his body. He says, now swim. And he said, oh, I cannot swim, I'm drowning, right? He says, the stone is so heavy, right? You said you are a good swimmer. I'm a good swimmer, but with this load, I cannot swim. It's like that. ये जो सकाम है, जो सकाम कर्म, जो इच्छाएं हैं, जो वासना है, जो clinging to karma-phal, that's like a stone. You cannot, even if you are a good practitioner, I do a lot of charity and all those things, I do lot मंदिर visit भी करता हूँ, तीर्थ यात्रा भी करता हूँ, लेकिन जब तक ये फल बंधा हुआ है, I cannot swim. It is going to drown me in the sansar. तो travel light. ये जब सब हटा देंगे, then you can swim. The whole world is yours, right? The whole river is yours. And that's what Bhagavan is saying here. So we'll read one more. We have few more minutes. So that is Samatvam Yoga Uchyate. So Samata, I mean, good. Thanks for you joining. I thought you will like it. And then this is recorded. You can listen to some other time also. So Samatvam is again Sangam Tyakta, give up the result, attachment to the result. Samo Bhutva is you are always evenness, whether this will be successful or failure. You should not worry. Be in the present. Third part is Yogastha, means establish in this yoga, which is Samatvam yoga. Samata is a yoga. Samata of Buddhi. That's great. Then perform the karma. And then the burden will be gone. We will enjoy. And we all know that. People have enjoyed this lifestyle. We all know that. I mean, there are thousands of stories about, even Bhagavan Ramakrishna has full of their life, full of Samatvam. So, and we call it choiceless. Last time we talked about it is that we have to develop a habit of choicelessness, which I gave example of Jiddu Krishnamurti. Because if we live choicelessness, which is Samatvam, then there is no problem, right? Because things are going to change in the world. Today we saw that news that there is an island in Hawaii, that Maui Island. The entire island is gone, like some 500 houses just burned in 2 hours, and 36 people died. And such a beautiful land, people go like for tourists and everyone there. In 2 hours, it is gone. So it is Mother Nature's beauty or fury. It's not in our control. Nobody's control. And this morning it happened. Right? So let's not worry about changing the world too much, or let's focus on our inner growth. That's what Bhagavan is saying. That is Samatvam. So with that, we'll read Shlok number 50, which 49 we already did last time. We'll go to 50, which is another extension of Samatvam, and which will tell what happens after Samatvam. So Shlok number 50, very, very another popular Shlok, which is used in schools and colleges and by teachers. Buddhi yukto jahati
Buddhi yukto jahati
ubhe sukrata dushkrate
ubhe sukrata dushkrate
tasmat yogaya yujjasva
tasmadhi yogaya yujyasva
yoga karmasu kaushalam.
yoga karmasu kaushalam.
So Bhagavan is saying, continuing with that, समत्व बुद्धि युक्त पुरुष, the person who has समता बुद्धि, पुण्य पाप दोनों को इस लोक में ही त्याग देता है. उससे पुण्य पाप उसको लिपायमान नहीं करते. इससे समत्व बुद्धि योग के लिए ही चेष्टा कर. समत्व बुद्धि योग, which is समता बुद्धि योग ही कर्मों में चतुरता है और कर्म बंधन से छूटने का उपाय है.
Endowed with equanimity, one sheds in this life both good and evil. Therefore, strive for the practice of this yoga of equanimity. Skill in action lies in the practice of this yoga.
Yeah. So Bhagavan is saying, practice it. And then how do we practice a lot of things, but how do I know that my practice is working? So it's like what Swamiji the, he used to live in Himalaya. वो साधना करने चले गए, अकेले रहेंगे हिमालय में साधन करें. So he was doing for a few years. He decided I'll stay there for 10-15 years. People say that when you sit in Himalaya for some years, then you get the siddhi. Siddhi basically उनको यही करना था. So he said after 10-15 days, he realized, oh, my mind is always stable. Now I have achieved the yoga, which is samatvam yoga, not ashtanga yoga. So he was very happy. He said, now I have no problem. मेरे को कोई disturbance नहीं होता है, क्योंकि वहाँ खाना कभी मिलता था, कभी नहीं मिलता था. That's the practice people do in Himalaya, right? लेकिन फाइनली ही सेड, ओ नाउ आई हैव समत्वम योग. इधर चलो अब नीचे जाके थोड़ा देखते हैं, बहुत साल हो गए. तो हरिद्वार में ही केम डाउन टू हरिद्वार फ्रॉम हिमालय, राइट? हरिद्वार इज, वी ऑल नो, हरिद्वार इज अ प्लेस वेयर लॉट ऑफ पीपल आर देयर, इज अ कम्युनिटी, इज अ सिटी. देयर वाज अ मेला गोइंग ऑन, अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल वर देयर इन द मेला. बड़ी भीड़ थी. स्वामी जी आ गए नीचे, और वो तो सोचे मैं तो अब योगी हूँ, समत्वम योग उच्चते, अभी तो मेरे को कुछ होता है, कोई नथिंग डिस्टर्ब्स मी, वेरी हैप्पी पर्सन. एंड ही वाज वॉकिंग अराउंड इन द मेला एंड देयर वाज लॉट ऑफ भीड़. अब स्वामी जी इतने साल में भूल गए थे भीड़ में कैसे चलना. भारत में भीड़ में चलना भी एक ट्रिक है, यू नो हाउ टू नेविगेट टू भीड़. अब भूल गए, भीड़ भाड़ थी, कुछ लोग उनके ऊपर गिरे, कुछ हुआ, एक आदमी ने उनके ऊपर जोर से पैर रख दिया, और भीड़, और ही वॉज बेयर फुट, राइट? तो जब पैर रख दिया तो ही गॉट लाइक हर्ट एंड ही जोर से चिल्ला, ही येल्ड एट, व्हाट, देखता नहीं है तो साधु के ऊपर पैर रखता है. तो उस आदमी ने प्रणाम किया, बस क्षमा करें महाराज, मैंने आपके ऊपर पैर रख दिया, आप साधु हैं. जैसे उसने बोला तो महाराज को याद है कि मैं साधु हूं. एंड ही सेड, अरे मेरे समत्वम का क्या हुआ? एक आदमी ने पैर रख दिया तो पूरा 15 साल का समत्वम खत्म हो गया. देन ही रियलाइज कि इट्स नॉट दैट इजी. तो भगवान यहाँ वार्न कर रहे हैं कि ऐसा मत समझ लेना कि ध्यान में बैठा है और हो गया. तो समत्वम यू हैव टू दैट प्रैक्टिस हाउ इट फुलफिल्स, एंड दैट बिकम कौशलम. जब दैट बिकम्स योर नेचर, दैट्स व्हाई भगवान से योगा कर्मसु कौशलम. सो विल रीड दैट. सो इट इज लाइक दैट. समत्वम ऐसा नहीं है कि आपको, आप कहीं बैठे हैं और आपको लगा कि होने लग गया. द प्रैक्टिस fructifies, you have to see in the field. So he says this shlok, samatva buddhi, the person who has samatva buddhi, that person will see, there are two things happen, right? Whenever we perform action, we have a, I mean, I won't say it's a
Can I
fear.
call you later, please?
It is
Okay.
the fear fed into us, but this is the way it is. People say, oh, आपसे कोई गलती हो गई तो this is दुष्कृत, पाप जिसको बोल देते हैं लोग. और अच्छा काम हो गया तो सुकृत, मीन्स पुण्य हो गया, अच्छा काम हो गया, आप बहुत पुण्यवान. This is the way we are raised, right? And this is the way our conditioning is. It is not our fault. This is the way society is, and we have to rise above that. That's what Bhagavad Gita tells. So Bhagavan is saying, ये जो समत्व बुद्धि वाला व्यक्ति है, the person, he is above sukrat duskrat. It doesn't affect him. He or she doesn't perform even पाप और पुण्य, और अच्छा और बुरा कुछ भी नहीं है. This person is above all that अच्छा बुरा. Jahati, automatic it happens. You don't have to do anything. This is good, this is bad. Our vision, and it's like that, when I go to 30,000 feet height, I can see the world more clearly, very easily, right? So this person has rise so much that he can see everything very clearly, and everything is one. Abhi hum, when we take the flight takes off from Pittsburgh, I see that, oh, this is Moon Township. Oh, I can see this is 376 or 76. As it takes the height, slowly, 376 is gone, Pittsburgh is gone. All I see is land, just one land, one Prithvi. There is no that the division, the bifurcation, that everything is gone. Because I have reached to a height, from there everything looks one. And that's what Bhagavan is saying. This Vyakti has spiritual elevation is here, Samatvam Yog, Samatvam Buddhi. उसको कोई बुरा और अच्छा दिखता ही नहीं. Everything is same. And that's what Bhagavan is saying. So Tasmat Yoga, therefore Arjun, strive for Samatvam Yoga. Strive for the Karma Yoga. And not other yoga. We should not get confused about the other yoga. And Bhagavan says that Karmasu Yoga Kaushalam. So while Karmasu means in the karma, assume the karma is, every karma is suppose there is a project. We do the project, right, at home. I'm finishing the room. So every project has a beginning and end. That's the definition of a project. There is a beginning, there is an end. And then there is a duration. So Bhagavan is saying that during that karma, during the duration of that karma, if you have yoga, means samatva buddhi. Yoga means we have to say samata yoga. Then that karma becomes kaushal. That karma becomes skill, perfection. So you don't, and now typically we are taught here that practice for the perfection. Where Bhagavan is saying the other way of that. You don't have to practice for the perfection. If you have that samatvam buddhi, evenness mind, then your karma becomes a perfection. So that's what in the karma, if there are two translation people do, but I like the second one. First one is people say that a perfection in action is yoga. Well, what I like better is as it is if you read with the karmasu, in the karma, while performing the karma, if your buddhi is even, samatvam buddhi, samata buddhi, then your karma become a caution. You have the skill, you have the perfection in that karma, and which is very true. We are all professionals here, right? We all, and we are all some or other way we are perfect in some one or two things. And I know that thing which I'm imperfect, when I do that, I'm 100% in that. हम सबको पता है, we are all do that. One or two activities which we are imperfect. When I'm doing that, I'm 100% in that. And actually, there is a joy in that. That's what Bhagavan is saying. You are so skillful in that. There's a typically like my wife's example. She's a very good cook. And I see that when she cooks, she just forgets everything. And then whoever at home, people come and eat at our place, they say that, wow, Bhabhi ji kya khana banaya hai, kya bhojan, and she is good. But I know behind the scene, when she's cooking, she's like into it. She just, so when you are into it with samta buddhi, it becomes your kaushal. It is a skill. So Bhagavan is saying, life also you can make everything in life become perfect if you have samata buddhi in the karma. And that is Nishkam Karma Yoga. Nishkam Karma Yoga means that's it. And we have numerous examples, modern example also, like in our personal life, we can have example. But if you take big people like Mahatma Gandhi, Swami Vivekananda, and then Maharaj Tilak, they were all karma yogis. And they were focusing on Nishkam Karma Yoga. They're ready to die for the cause. And that Arjuna asked, like, Nit Shreyas Yat Nishchitam Bruhitan. Shreyas kya mujhe bataiye? And Bhagavan says, Shreyas, marna bhi Shreyas if you're for a cause, for a sadharma. So that's what Bhagavan is saying. वो भी कौशल बन जाएगा. वो जान देना भी कौशल बन जाएगा if you have that samatvam buddhi. Very, very powerful these two shlokas. We have to stop here, so we'll do our dhyan. Again, say, karma ke liye, we see that shlok. Very important is to have samatvam buddhi. The only way to have samatvam buddhi is dhyan. ध्यान ऐसा नहीं किसी चीज का ध्यान, भगवान का ध्यान. When we are sitting in the satsang mode, we are reading Bhagavad Gita, is भगवान का ध्यान. There are many ways people do dhyan, but here it is very clear. So dhyan is, there is a very nice quote somebody, and in fact I was reading somewhere, I found that dhyan is the light on the spiritual path. A torch you are holding when you are walking on a spiritual path, which is dark, which is difficult. We saw that shlok, Uttishtat Jagrat Prapya Vanani Bodhat, from Kathopanishad. Durasya dhara. So this path is very complicated. Durasya is very complicated, as if walking on the razor, the edge of the razor. So different, but you need a torch. That's why they say prapya varani bodha. Go to some people who know and get the guidance from them on this path. So dhyan is a torch given to us by our rishis, or which we can carry on this spiritual path. And once we have that light, it's easy to walk. We can complete the journey. So that is dhyan. So let's do our dhyan. That's what Bhagavan is saying, right? So same process which Bhagavan is given in 6th chapter. Sit straight. We'll say Om 6 times, and then start our journey from gross to subtle. Gross means 5 senses, 5 elements, from Man, Buddhi, Chit, and that's Bhagavan. So finally. Now keep the breath slow and shallow. It's not pranayama, as shallow as slow as possible breath. Now keep the focus on the tip of the nostril and think of Prithvi Tattva. Prithvi is Bhudevi for us, because through nostril, through nose, we feel the Prithvi Tattva. So bring the image of Prithvi and just keep the focus on the tip of the nostril. Slow and shallow breath. Now shift the focus to the tip of the tongue, and when we can feel juice through tongue, we feel the Jal Tattva, which is water. So think of Jal, or a river or fountain or fall, waterfall, and bring the image of Jal Tattva and keep the focus on the tip of the tongue. Now shift focus to the eyes and think of Agni Tattva. So we can bring the image of Bhagwan Surya, which is through eyes we feel the Agni Tattva. Agni means fire in English, but Agni Tattva. So bring Bhagwan Surya's image and keep the focus on eyes. Now shift focus to the skin and feel Vayu around. Through skin we feel the Vayu, which is Vayu Pavan Devata for us. So feel the presence of Pavan Devata around us. We can feel on our skin. When we focus, we really feel that Vayu is around us. Now shift focus to the ears, and we can hear distant sound, because that sound travels in space. So to feel space, we have to focus on sound, because sound travels through space. Keep the focus on ear and feel that we are in space, which is Akash. So now by doing this, all the 5 senses stop closing, stop transacting with the outside world. So our inward journey starts. Otherwise, we are always interacting with the outside world through these senses. Now the senses shutting down, then think that I am not these senses, I am not this body, I am not the mind, man, I am not even buddhi, which is intellect. I am the Chaitanya Atma, which illumines buddhi, which illumines the mind, which illumines the entire body. So that is my Swarup. It is Sakshi Chaitanya. Now Bhagavan says, after mind is quiet, buddhi is quiet, just do a Brahma Vichar. So Gayatri Mantra is the best Brahma Vichar. We can focus on the meaning some other time, but whatever meaning you know, just focus on that Gayatri Mantra. Om Bhuvah Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Bhagavan says that after this, your mind is quiet, you're doing the Brahma Vichar, keep doing the Brahma Vichar. Brahma Vichar means keep Bhagavan's image in mind and Yukta Asit Matpara, and be seated in this as long as possible. Enjoy the Brahmanand or Atmanand, whatever we call it, or Nityanand or Govindanand, various names of that Anand. Just have that Anand. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Boli Krishna Kanhaiya Lal ki Jai. Hari Om. So that Samatvam, the Dhyan is the way to maintain that Samatvam. So we'll end here. There is a beautiful line, Chitu bhai, और एक बहुत अच्छा हिंदी गाना है समत्वम का, बड़ा शुद्ध हिंदी में ट्रांसलेशन है. मैं जिंदगी का साथ निभाता चला गया, हर फिक्र को धुएं में उड़ाता चला गया, गम और खुशी में फर्क ना महसूस हो जहां, मैं दिल को उस मकाम पहुंचाता चला गया. मैं जिंदगी का साथ, सो गम और खुशी में फर्क ना महसूस हो जहां, मैं दिल को उस मकाम. दैट इज समत्वम. So very wonderfully, a lot of people have defined this, but only thing I get Samatvam by my own practice. There is no other way. So we'll continue next time.